Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Today we have with us Katrina Summers. She's a sales confidence coach and so much more.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Let's talk about your business, Katrina. Tell us what it is that you are doing.
Well, we are, as Katrina Summers brand and KSB agency combined, we are really taking the approach of sales is not scary, or it doesn't have to be scary. And we are all about leveling up entrepreneurs, small businesses, and corporations with sales training tactics, social media, digital presence, so that they too can create a life of freedom and not feel that pressure of being online, being present, and just hoping and praying to close those sales to create that freedom. That is what we are all about. So I'm excited to be here. I absolutely love everything about business, mindset, digital presence, selling, anything that can help those out there in the world level themselves up to create a lifestyle that they absolutely love.
There are so many amazing business people on this planet who are playing really, really small.
Oh, too many.
Yeah. I remember when I got into the business of, at first it started out with the hypnotherapy practice. And then I quickly realized, I love working with business owners. These are my people. So I transitioned away from general hypnotherapy into doing hypnotherapy and coaching with business owners. And then that ended up becoming an international business, which then further transitioned into working more as a business mindset coach, utilizing various tools and techniques, hypnosis only being one of many. And I remember the statistics when I was starting to grow my business that I think it's something like 80% of businesses fail within like the first 5 years. And I mean, the statistics are not very reassuring, but they're very telling. And what I've come to understand is that people underestimate what it really takes to be successful in business. And it's not just the marketing, it's not just the sales, it's not even just the mindset. It really is the whole package. And you have to be like full on invested in your business in order to get that type of momentum to carry you through all of the challenges that are going to come up from changing markets and changing mediums and economic things that are taking place. What are you seeing in your business?
Right now, obviously the economy, it's shifting a little bit. The one thing that I want to just emphasize what you said is that people underestimate what it takes, right? And when I say that, it gives me the chills. The reason it gives me the chills is because you don't realize how quickly things can turn for the good or for the worse, right? And it is our ability to jump back on and our ability to get up and push even further. And right now, what I see is the entrepreneurs and small businesses, let's just take that for example. They start and they have a desire and they have that feeling of just, this is what I want to do. I know I have a message. I know I can help. They get started. And unless you have a backing, a lot of times the smallest things come into play. So we need money for this. I need a website. I don't know how to put myself out on social. I don't know how to do this. And so many people don't have that knowledge or that experience from previous employment possibly, or their corporations that they worked for, on how to pivot and how to move forward. So when you think about the all-encompassing aspect of that, it is exactly that. Yes, you have an idea. Yes, you have a vision, but are you strategic enough and are you diligent enough to push forward even in the worst times? So for us right now, we're really helping our clients understand that it is more than just, I want to do this. And why is this not happening? It is your mindset. It is your sales, your targets, your revenue. What is your overall goal? Where do you want to be? Right. And that doesn't mean today, that doesn't mean tomorrow, but in 10 years, where do we want to be? And it's hard for people to really start thinking about that. And then I see people just kind of give up on their business because they're not seeing sales. And for me, that's where my heart is just like, sales takes practice. Sales is more than just selling your product or service. It's building relationships. It's being out there. It's being confident in yourself. It's how do you feel about yourself? Do you believe in your offer? And that, I think, is where we really resonate with our clients right now, because it is, everyone's out there. There's people doing big things, and it didn't just come overnight. And you have to be able to understand and pivot, push yourself outside the comfort zones to make sure you're not giving up on your dreams.
Love that. You work with people in a lot of different capacities, but I want to focus in on the sales piece because I know that's an area where you have a level of expertise that can be really beneficial to our listeners. Now, some people are naturally charismatic, confident. You mentioned belief in your product or service, absolutely critical, right? Even if you have a subconscious resistance to the price of your product or service, that can be a humongous obstacle to getting positive results in your business. But now let's look at the fact that we have so much wacky conditioning around sales. Even just the word sales evokes a whole host of mixed emotions. On the one hand, we know as business people that you've got to make sales. You have to. And so there's a desire to be successful in that endeavor. And on the other side, we resist it. Our whole upbringing is all about, avoiding salespeople and not getting taken advantage of. And there is just, we don't want to be annoying. We don't want to be perceived as greedy or me. And yet it's so interesting because a lot of people who are out there, especially when they haven't worked on their mindset and they haven't really done anything in terms of sales training and that type of thing, that's exactly how they come off, is extremely needy, very me-centric, not at all client-centric, not at all customer-centric. So can you share with us what's your stance on it? So what are you seeing when you're working with people in this whole area of sales?
Yeah. So right now we're living in this world of, I'm sure you get it too, right? The constant DMing and private messaging. And it's just like, that's partially why salespeople get a bad name, is because it's like me. And that is the trend that I see right now, is that there's and I want to first say that I appreciate the hustle and the drive and the commitment from people to try this tactic, right? But what I'll say to that is, it doesn't work. People buy from those that they know, like, and trust. And if you are going into a conversation or you're going into a meeting or anything in regards to your business, you as a person, heck, what you want for dinner at night with your family, right? You need to go in with the end result in mind and what's in it for them. So what are you going to do? How are you going to help them? And what's keeping them up at night that you can help solve? Is that your product or service? The first step in that is understanding your ideal client, right? If you don't know who you're targeting, you're never going to be successful in your business. So that would be the number one thing I would say to take away is really hone in on exactly who you're targeting, because there's a saying, the riches are in the niches. And I believe in that. I think that this DMing tactic that people are doing and just bombarding people with, this is what I do and this is what I sell, and jump on a call, it doesn't work. And you have to understand your audience and what's keeping them up at night and what you can do to help them, and be confident in that. And I think that that's the biggest takeaway that I have right now that I'm seeing is once you can overcome that, and it's like, wow, all I had to do is really care. It sounds simple, but really truly care of who I am helping. The game changes for you and your business.
Absolutely. The scarcity piece, I think, plays into this. So when people are not seeing the cash flow in their business, they go into scarcity mode.
Yes.
Fear takes over.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, we're not being that generous, coming from a place of service version of ourselves. So then it just becomes about almost like a need to survive, but from that very, very needy energy.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about successful people, does that mean that at some point they weren't faced with, oh shit, how am I going to pay my mortgage or my rent or buy groceries? I mean, it's super common.
It's every single successful person that has been in that spot.
But they didn't get the positive momentum by coming from that mindset. They were able to shift their mindset from me and my problems to I can do something to help you. Mm-hmm. I've got something, I'm going to do this to help you. And then it becomes more of that beneficial exchange. So as business people, we really do have to be able to change our mindset. Like when I'm working with a client who is a service provider, maybe they are working in some type of coaching capacity as well. Maybe they are a high level weight loss coach, or I have a client who trains coaches through a certification organization. One of the things that I always say is when you're working with that client, you have to put all of your stuff on the shelf. Mm-hmm. You are not thinking about it. You're not feeling it. You're not worrying about it. When you are with your client, you shift it off, you shut it off, and you are fully present. Mm-hmm. You are of service. And that's when you do your best work. But this is so true in every area of our business. Whether you are doing marketing, you are doing sales, and it doesn't even mean that you have to be in that low place. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about whatever is bothering you, right? So yeah, you've got goals, but when you're out there hustling, you're coming from a place of service. You're coming from the mindset of what can I do to make my client's life better? Right. Completely different energy, completely different mindset, completely different results that you're getting for your effort.
Mm-hmm. And I think the key thing that you said there is putting it on the shelf. I say this to even my children, right? When you commit to something or you're in a conversation or, it's like the phones at the dinner table or the phones, like you're in a meeting and someone's reading text message. I personally think that's rude. And I know that is the life that we're in right now. But when you have to be present, you have to be able to shift and make sure that you are giving your energy and your just all around space to the person in front of you, or to that item in front of you, or to the conversation, the meeting, whatever it is. So many people, it's the world we live in today, right? It's just so fast all the time. And if we do not give ourselves grace and give ourselves time to just really enjoy the present moment and the conversations we're having, no matter how difficult they are, we're missing out on opportunities, and we're missing out on how we feel about ourselves as well, because we're not giving ourselves the attention and the time that it deserves.
So true. It's a really, really good way to burn out, to lose your clarity, to lose your focus, and to lose your drive. I'll have a pep talk with myself. If I'm noticing myself getting pulled in some direction that's not productive, it's like, whoa, nuh-uh.
Well, and there's so many shiny objects too, right? Like, think about the digital space. Like, it's like, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this strategy. Oh, look what this person's doing. And if you're not careful, you can be in the ever like tunnel of just trying to change strategies all the time. And then it's like, well, what really did work? We don't know, because we were trying everything and anything that came our way. So
Yes.
I agree. 100%.
I think you referenced goals at some point, and that is, a lot of people have mixed feelings about goals, right? It's like, we hear that you have to have goals, but a lot of people set goals and then they don't achieve them, or they feel almost too out there, too etheric, unattainable in some cases, even if they're realistic goals, because people don't use goals as their roadmap to get from where they are to where they want to be. So goals should be inspiring and motivating, but they should be our compass to keep us on track. So some of what you're talking about here is, when you don't have that degree of clarity, it is extremely easy to get pulled off track. And before you know it, you're off in the woods somewhere. And now you've got to expend a whole bunch of extra energy just to get yourself back on your right path.
And in the meantime, that's just the number one thing. And it was a pivotal moment in my career, my corporate career, as well as a business owner, is the clarity and the goal setting and the vision and the mission. And I say that when you are so crystal clear on your vision, your mission, and what your why is, why are you doing this? Everything you do should be steered right back to that. So that is almost like your North Star, that, okay, does this make sense? Does this align with where I want to be or what I want to be doing? And I'll tell you what, I went through a tremendous moment in my business within the first 6 months. I was doing that. Like, I knew my goals, I knew my mission, I knew my vision, but I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I want to do that. I can do that with my business. And it not only confused me and took my energy, it took the energy of some of my clients, because they're like, well, wait a second, I see you doing this, but you're supposed to be a sales. I'm like, I am, and I think it's so crucial that when you talk about goals, and there are a lot of different theories and people feel different ways about goals, but you see people putting goals as this huge stretch goal, right? Like, I want to make $1 million within my first year. One of the first questions I ask clients that I work with is, okay, so what is your goal? Where do you want to be? Where are you right now? And what's holding you back from that goal? And then I reverse engineer it, right? Okay, so what does it take? How many calls, how many meetings, how many lives do you have to touch, whatever? And oftentimes I don't see that people put this goal out there and they don't even realize how unrealistic it is, because they haven't done the reverse engineering of that goal. And that's not to come from a negative place. it's a realistic place. And I do believe in stretch goals as well. So you have your goals that are attainable and realistic. And of course, everyone should have a stretch goal of where they want to be. What is that huge goal that if that happened, it would be just the feeling of like, I cannot believe I just accomplished this, you know? So how do you feel about stretch goals? Do you believe in stretch goals? Do you believe in setting the bar higher than what maybe is a realistic goal?
So it's really an individual thing. And let me clarify that. That does not mean that if someone is not in the right mindset for thinking big, for setting big goals right now, that they won't be once they've done a little bit of inner work and up leveled their mindset. So that's an important distinction, because when you go into some type of program with some guru and they say, think big, set big goals,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a percentage of people that are participating in that experience who are ready for it. They're ready. They felt the inner calling. They're already at that place where it's like they're a bud and they're ready to bloom.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody pushes them like that, it is a game changer for them. It can accelerate their success, their income, where outsiders looking in are just like, whoa, that is absolutely incredible. But here's the thing, there's a big segment of that audience. They have not done enough of their own inner work, that when they try to set that type of goal for themselves, they immediately self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
They won't even take the first step. Or if they're able to take one tiny step, they quickly encounter so much internal resistance that it's too painful, it's too overwhelming, and they give up, they stop. So we have to work with people with where they're at. And sometimes you have to go through a series of small, more attainable goals to start to recondition the mind to believe that bigger goals are possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't believe that it's possible, it's no different than somebody who says, I'm 50 pounds overweight, I need to lose 50 pounds. And their mind goes into, there is no way. I can't even control my eating for a single day. I can't even commit to going to the gym. I can't even commit to hiring a personal trainer. There is no way. Their mind goes into overwhelm. So instead of taking even a tiny step in the right direction towards their goal, they self-sabotage and they do nothing. I use the analogy, it's like being at the bottom of the staircase and trying to take one step and get all the way to the top of the staircase.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You have to take the first step, then the next step. Now, that does not mean, and a lot of people confuse this, that does not mean that you can't get up that staircase really, really fast. You can, but you have to do it in a logical way. So it's not that somebody can't manifest $1 million business in a year, that they can't achieve that goal, even if they're starting with $100,000 of debt hanging over their head. You absolutely can, but you need the mindset that supports the actions that are going to get you to that desired outcome. And if you if you don't have that
on that note, but I want to say something to that. It's so important in our space right now in the coaching and consulting world that as the guru or as the expert in this space, that you recognize when someone possibly isn't at the place that they need your help, right? And I say that a lot, and people are like, oh my gosh, you turn away business. It's not turning away business. It is doing my due diligence. I ethically am not going to work with someone who's not ready to go scale their business to 6-7 figures when they're so far like removed from their belief system and their mindset themselves, right? And
Mhm.
it takes people like us to understand the importance of people starting where they're at and not comparing themselves to others, and being okay that it may not be the right time to work with a sales coach when they need a mindset consultant, you know? So I think
Mhm.
I love what you're sharing. I think that so many people, again, in the space that we're in, put ourselves and compare ourselves like, what, that person just went from here to there. But we have to celebrate our small wins and what goes into getting to those goals, because people don't see those struggles all over the internet.
It's
They
true.
don't.
It's
Yeah.
true. So now I want you to take an opportunity and share with our listeners where they can connect with you, because you are doing some really amazing work. And there are people that are listening to this that absolutely can take their sales goal to the next level, or
Mhm.
that can, I mean, they're ready. They're ready to scale their business. So can you share with us where our listeners can connect with you?
Of course, yes. So on my website, ksbagency.co, um, everything is listed there to understand more of what we do. Additionally, social platforms, we are full of it. And we always love to share the goodness of marketing trends and sales tactics and just the well-being and the health of our mental space too, because I am an advocate for mental health. And I think it's so important that we also are authentic and put out what is really going on in our businesses online. So it's some funny yet some scary things that are out there in my space. But Katrina Summers brand, KSB agency, and we have a vision board. It's funny, we're talking about goal setting. Our vision board class in November, it's a free class we're putting on all about that, all about our personal journey and our vision and our mission to start 2022. So feel free to check that out as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. It's always about the inner and the outer game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what area of life we're talking about, especially in business, but certainly in every area of life, whether it is your health, it's your relationships, it's your own, even your own spiritual journey. So this has been a fantastic conversation, and I would love for you to share with us any final thoughts before we wrap up today's episode.
My final thoughts are you are worthy, and you are, whoever's listening to this, you have the ability to push yourself outside your comfort zone, push yourself to a level that you want to be. And if you are where you want to be, that's fantastic. And I celebrate you, but don't let anyone steal your thunder. Don't let any words that have come to you or past experiences impact you from living your fullest dreams and in the biggest life that you deserve. So that's my final thoughts. I believe everyone on this earth has a purpose, and I believe everyone on this earth has the ability and can do whatever they put their mind to.
Fantastic way to end this segment. Thank you so much, Katrina.
Thank you so much for
you.
having me.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. We have so many amazing experts sharing incredible tips, strategies, and their own unique personal mindset journeys with us. So with that, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next episode.